Good morning and God bless. This is World's First Man, February 14, 2019. I want to come back out and do a quick update on the video that I last did before we actually get to February 23rd, and I had to give another update on that time. I guess I'm going to continue doing this until God stops showing me messages within these dates and stuff. But what I did want to update from the last video is that I did mess up, and here I actually had put Festival of Lights, but I actually meant to put Festival of Trees, which would have been the Tu B'Shavat. And just to show that I didn't have to change anything else, if you look at the January 30th and the 31st, that would have been Tu B'Shavat from 2018. So that's basically where I took the timeline from, as far as the 40 days going this way, and then the 40 days going back to get to November 12th. So nothing has been changed other than me actually writing lights rather than trees. And that seems to be the whole thing around all this. It's a lot to do with trees, and God's given his message about these trees and things being ripe. I keep seeing the number 12, 57, 14, 22. Yes, to make this message easier, I guess it would be a lot easier just being one number, but that's not the way it's coming off. There's again even 17 and 7. So there's a lot of numbers, and all those numbers have meanings and stuff. And so with that being taken care of, again, nothing's changed other than just trees is what I actually meant to have there. Again, you can verify that by the January date, 40 days going down this way to go back, and then the 40 days going hopefully into the future. And so basically what I want to update there was, from the 12th, November 12th, that would have been Veterans Day. But what a lot of people don't really realize is that Veterans Day was actually George Washington. It's known for George Washington Day. And George Washington is known for actually cutting down the cherry tree. And so he cannot tell a lie. I cut down the cherry tree. But what I immediately got after coming across that in my spirit was that I cannot not tell a lie. So that it was founded on lies, on who is the father of lies, but Satan. So that was nothing but lies as far as George Washington chopping down that cherry tree. And cherries are known for being ripe. And I'm going to just go through these, and you can pick up the messages later if you have to play this again to get how all these things connect. But they really do. So that tree, our foundation, our beginning, founded on lies. December 5th, there was national holiday day of mourning for George Bush. And a Bush is, Woody. It's also in the Rose family. George Bush, he was the 41st president. 41 meaning separation, and it also will lead you into waters. He was known as Bush 41. And he was the 41st president, which is, 5 if you add those together. And he was also the 43rd vice president, which is 7. Again, that's 57. And George is also known for tiller or soil. And so it was very ironic if you look on that day and in the history or what it's celebrated for is also it's World Soil Day. So if you look at it, George Bush, who's a tiller of soil, was actually buried on the World Soil Day. And a lot of people are also going into that this last Super Bowl was actually the a 41 ritual. So you can take that for any confirmations or whatever you need. And then December 22nd, we had the Indonesia tsunami, which is early reports were 222 people were killed. And you also had the band 17 that was playing. And so I just doing a little bit more research, it was like where they were at, and it was Bandung, and digging into that name, you find that there was a conference that was formed for smaller countries that were against colonization. And also, within reading that document, which you can find on Wikipedia, you will find that in its conception that the U.S. was against this coalition against colonization because the U.S. was against it because of their ties to the English. So from December 22nd, we then landed on January 14th. Well, I'm sorry, I want to go back on the December 22nd. It was also found out that former President Obama was actually doing a play, like he was doing a reading within a play. I guess it was Lin-Manuel. It's called The One Last Time. It's a remix of George Washington in his final messages as stepping down as president and him going through all of his errors. And I guess in the middle of this play, they had stopped it for a reading from Obama. Again, that separation coming up. And just to add in there, 42, George was the 40, Obama was the 44th president. And this remix that Lin-Manuel was going to be no longer doing was the 44th remix, and I believe that's probably why they had tied Obama into it. But you know, coming from the 41 into the 42 is the arrival. So now I'll move on to January 14th, and this is when we had the flash floods in Israel. Early reports of that were that was from the Negev, and that the rainfall was 57 millimeters. So that, you know, I quickly seen the 57 in that tie, with that being 12. But if you convert that over into inches, that's actually 2.2 inches. So that's the 22 connection. But also doing the research on the Negev, and that would actually bring you again to the separation. And it also led me into Beersheba, and that's where Abraham had digged 7 wells. And you can find that passage in Genesis, what's that, 21, 22 to 34. So again, 21, 22 to 34. So that's the 12, 22, and 7. And I believe this is where we're just talking about covenants, because a little less known for a lot of people is that this is also the same place where there were 70 palm trees, and that's where we're getting at, where Israel is 70 and it will not see 71. And you can find that one in Genesis 15. So on the 31st, like I had mentioned in the first video, that since December 5th was a mourning, and that was a political figure, that January 31st, I mentioned that this will be something about another political figure, and sure enough, it was. So we had found out that Maduro had come out and basically said that the United States had tried to assassinate him. So looking into Maduro's name, you'll find Nicholas is victory of the people, but Maduro itself is, again, that's ripe. It's a leaf that's known for wrapping the cigars when they're ripe. But again, I would have been able to tell them that not to mess with him, because victory of the people and it's ripe. And that's also going back into that connection of where we started from November 12th. Let me see if that was the 12th. But it goes back into the connection with the colonizing. And I believe it's like a message that the colonizing is over, and it's like the signing or the dooming of the United States from one country to another, and trying to imperialize or colonize and take over. But it started off with the father of lies, that was a cherry tree that was ripe, and now we get to Maduro that again it's ripe. It's like the alpha and omega, the beginning and the ending. So that it's the end. And another connection or another tie that we had in there for Maduro on that day was that the early reports, I'm not sure if more countries had jumped in or not, but all over the YouTube and over the news, it kept saying that there was 21 countries along with United States that was against Maduro. So that would be your 22 connection, with 22 countries actually being against him. So that's basically it for the confirmations or the connections and stuff right now. Hopefully this will be some confirmations for someone else, and continue digging and bringing out the message. I know a lot of these ties and things are coming in so fast. I really honestly can't even keep up with the other things that are coming in that I really have to do another video on already. But so I hope this is a blessing one. This is World's First Man. Talk to you later.